watching the Eternal Tournament Series.
Welcome back, everybody, for round 4 of the Eternal Tournament Series. I'm Mark, aka Chibikawaii, and with me I've got LocoPojo, and we've got a pretty exciting matchup, old school matchup even at that. We've got Big Cambrai piloted by Komodo versus Traditional Armory piloted by Masterplan. Pojo, what's your take?
It's looking like a pretty interesting one. We got the full Smuggler Stash Armory, all the really cool stuff. 2 Ikarias, 2 Stashes, 2 Daishas at the very, very top, with the Statuary Maidens in the middle, one of the popular additions to Armory these days. A lot of interesting cards going on for just the standard sort of Armory list, but on the other side, we have as big a Cambrai as Cambrai can be. Mystic Ascendants with Marshal Ironthorns, the Great Parliament, and Knight Chancellor Seraph. Nothing crazy here, just that very, very stock list, and lots and lots of big units coming out that are going to be fairly resilient to cards like Auric Runehammer. So it's going to be an interesting matchup. I think that Big Cambrai probably has a slight advantage in this situation, but if you can get enough damage through as the Armory deck, you're going to get a lot of benefit out of those harsh rules.
Yeah, so we're going to jump right in as we see our players have just started here. And speaking of units that are very good against weapons, looking at that Cambrai healer in Komodo's hand there.
Yeah, he has Cambrai Healer. It's going to be a reasonable stopgap against Sword of Ikaria and Auric Runehammer, of course. With Masterplan playing Rakano Artisan, his next weapon might be big enough to actually deal with a Cambrai Healer, but if you don't get that Rakano Artisan against the Cambrai deck, then you end up in a lot of trouble because your weapon's just never big enough to deal with these threats.
200%. So let's see. Oh, Masterplan just passes.
Yeah, chooses not to attack here. Probably implies that he has either a Runehammer or doesn't have the Sword of Ikaria at the very least. He could attack here to get rid of the Cambrai Healer if he had a Sword of Ikaria, but since that doesn't seem to be the case, he's just going to take his licks and keep on ticking. Corey helps him out a little bit, getting him up towards whatever weapon it is he's looking for. It's possible he's flooded a bit on power.
Yeah.
He certainly discards some here and probably picks up something of use. So his hand's going to be a little bit more reliable from this turn forward, but Komodo's slowly developing out a board, starting to put some pressure on. And if he wants to Valkyrie enforce the Rakano Artisan, that's certainly something he can do.
Ooh. All right, so that Throne Warden coming down, that's a pretty big blocker, and that 4 armor going on whatever weapon Masterplan actually ends up playing, could be pretty big. We do see the Desert Marshal, though, at least able to possibly pop the Aegis and pop the Aegis on the Throne Warden, as well as get in the way of a weapon swing.
Yeah, he uses the Cambrai Healer for it since he's not in any rush, and that's a pretty good way to get rid of Aegis on a unit. One of the sort of lesser known uses of Cambrai Healer is popping those Aegises.
Oh, yeah.
It tends to make the card very effective in tournament settings. But we have a Starsteel Daisho right away, and it's going to just start picking off units one at a time.
Yeah, this is a little bit of a unfortunate swing of events for Komodo, because that Daisho is big. Still does not clear the Cambrai Healer. You have to use both swings next turn on that Cambrai Healer in order to get rid of it, which is, well, actually in that power draw, fantastic for Komodo, being able to get that Mystic Ascendant up to a 6/6. So now Daisho won't even clear that because it'll die on the first swing.
Yeah, at this point, Masterplan can offer an attack to get a little bit of extra damage, and if he has the harsh rule, he gets into an even better situation. He can also just double attack the 6/6, which is a really bad way to get rid of a 6/6 if he doesn't have the right answer, but something worth trying. So I think he offers attacks here. If his opponent blocks with anything, then that makes it much easier for the Starsteel Daisho to start clearing things. But if he just takes the damage, then he's pretty likely to see a harsh roll. So yeah, there's not a good option here for Komodo.
Yeah, but with Komodo being at 32 life, I'm fine taking a little bit of damage, and if that means that the harsh roll comes down, it's definitely less than ideal because we're taking 8 to the face, but I'm still sitting at 20.
Yep, sitting at 20 versus 28. Komodo, unfortunately, does not have good to just the current board. Cambrai Healer helps a little bit since it gives him another unit that just resists being attacked by that Starsteel Daisho. But like at the moment, Masterplan has the board somewhat in lockstep, and Komodo's going to have to play several of his cards to get things going again.
Yeah, I was about to say, Combre Healer comes down. Daisho has to take one swing on it. On the second swing, you play the Desert Marshal, blocks it, and then crack back with the Combre Healer, and then he won't actually be able to kill the Combre Healer. However, the Ikaria.
That second finisher following up, yeah.
Hey, how you doing?
So there's 5 there. The Desert Marshal does not come out here, even though it's certainly an option. I think he can still follow through on his Desert Marshal plan and then follow up with a Harsh Rule if he wants to.
Yep.
But he actually passed his turn, so he's just attacking into the Daisho.
Just drops it down to... maybe he's playing the Valkyrie Enforcer instead.
Yeah, at this point, Komodo's forced to Harsh Rule. Can't really...
Okay.
So he's going to take another 8 to the face. This is very, very bad set of swings for him. Like, every time he gets lower, it makes him more vulnerable to the later weapons.
I actually did not mind the Valkyrie Enforcer, right? Valkyrie Enforcer comes down, silences. You didn't have 5 power on the board. Yes, you have to take a 5 from that silenced Ikaria, but you're still... and you're going to lose both your units, but at least that Daisho's off the board, and then you just have a 5/5 that's not really doing much.
Yeah, at this point... if Masterplan has a Harsh Rule or a Vanquish, he can just kill the Ascendant and get another 8 damage in. If he has another follow-up unit, then he can do it again. Like, it's pretty rough times for Komodo at this point. Masterplan is just kind of the beatdown in this situation, and he's doing a very good job of it.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Masterplan's going to need something to give this Daisho a little bit more armor, or another way to answer this Mystic Ascendant. Otherwise, there's going to be... Do you play out the second Mystic Ascendant? Do you just say, all right, well, if he's got Harsh Rule, he's got a Harsh Rule, and just go for the drawing 2 cards next turn and getting in for 8?
Yeah, this pause here is not not indicating good things for... If he has a Torch, he can kill the Mystic Ascendant, but at that point he's out of gas, and Komodo's just going to follow up with Mystic Ascendant, which means that he starts to stabilize. What Masterplan needs here is some sort of straight removal, and it doesn't seem like he has it, so now he has to find some other option for getting around. I don't think that there's any particularly good ones if he doesn't have...
He is running Smuggler Stash, but given the not wanting to get rid of this Daisho yet, I have to imagine no Smuggler Stash in hand. Oh, well, that's something.
Yeah, not a bad something even. A 7/6 doesn't block an 8/8, so that's still a bit of an issue. Komodo can play a second Ascendant here or a Parliament and try to force Harsh Rule. Or he can just attack in with an 8/8 and see what happens.
Yeah, I have to imagine. Actually, I don't know if I like Parliament here. Parliament just trades with Daisho. I mean, which is like obviously fine, but you're already sitting kind of pretty because even with... Oh, he just lets the Daisho go. Okay.
Yeah, takes the hit, and now Komodo is allowed to Parliament. So from here, Masterplan needs to draw Harsh Rule, or he's just kind of in trouble. Oh, Statuary Maiden plus an Auric Runehammer. That's closer.
Ooh. Whew. All right, so now
it's not quite going to be enough.
No.
But with the cudgel on the 9/8, he actually does get to attack for a bunch. The Valkyrie Enforcer silences Statuary Maiden, and then from there, if Komodo wants to attack with his Mystic Ascendant, it's going to be still kind of an issue because he's got this very, very big unit to deal with. But there's some ways that he can get around it.
Yeah, and I think you... Yeah, so we're going to draw 2 and then find out what the line's going to be. Ooh, another Valkyrie Enforcer. Vanquish off the top.
Yeah, the Vanquish plus the Valkyrie Enforcer is a pretty big deal, although unfortunately he cannot use both of them. Valkyrie Enforcer gets him the silence, and now he can attack with his 10/10 if he feels like it. But again, if there's some sort of Harsh Rule, if there's some sort of like useful effect, Masterplan can just sweep the board and then swing in for 5.
I like attacking with the 10/10.
I like it too. Doesn't end up happening, so Masterplan not under a lot of pressure to find his best answer. He kills the Valkyrie Enforcer, which suggests that he hasn't found his Harsh Rule, but I'm not sure if that's going to help him a lot.
All right, so there's the Stone Cudgel again. Do you just trade off? Yeah, no, that's fine because you have the Vanquish.
Yeah, he's trading Mystic Ascendant as a possible play. He could trade the 10/10 and then he'd spend his Vanquish on the 11/10, but Masterplan if he has an answer for Mystic Ascendant, now stabilizes, so that doesn't look great for him.
No, but we are going to get another card draw in an 8/8 out of this Mystic Ascendant with that power being played. And the Sandstorm Titans, I don't know how many more threats you're actually running out right now. Well, I guess the only 2 cards in hand, and as long as you're leaving something back, you should be fine. I'm just wondering if the Sandstorm Titan is going to come out.
Yeah, okay. I think
Obviously,
Masterplan's in a lot of trouble here. The longer that Mystic Ascendant is out, the more card advantage Komodo gets. At this point, he's well ahead on board, and he's even on cards, and he's even on life, which means that all of Masterplan's early advantages have sort of faded away. Yeah, so so it's looking a little bit rough with a Desert Marshal to block the sort of Icaria. At the moment, all he can do is just sort of try to stabilize, try to harsh roll. Smuggler's Stash, however, is a pretty big deal, if not a big enough deal to stop Mystic Ascendant.
So what do we end up getting here?
The main one is the 4/10 Starsteel Daisho, but Icaria the Liberator makes a difference as well. If Komodo wants to back up with Sandstorm Titan, then once again Harsh Roll does stabilize Masterplan and get him into a situation where he's finally winning. But if he doesn't do that, I don't know. It's going to be pretty... it seems like Masterplan does not have a great way to get through this Mystic Ascendant without a Harsh Roll.
Let's see, we're just going to churn through Temple Scribes. I think we're really looking for another Parliament or possibly a Knight Chancellor of Seraph.
Yeah, Masterplan can play a weapon here too. But Sandstorm Titan does stop that. If he finds the Harsh Roll, that's the top deck. That's the one top deck right now that helps him out.
Sandstorm Titan also is stopping Icaria as well.
Yeah. Rakano Artisan. It's a big one.
All right.
Second Artisan. This is still holding the fort. Starsteel Daisho clears a couple of things. He can actually clear out the Sandstorm Titan if he wants to, which probably wouldn't be terrible. Or he can just clear out a couple of units and make his blocks better, which also isn't that terrible. He's still looking for the Harsh Roll. He's still got chances to get to the Harsh Roll. He's going to take 6 this turn because of Vanquish, but I think he's looking pretty strong. Komodo drawing another threat means that even the Harsh Roll doesn't quite win the game. And of course, he still hasn't found a way to get that Daisho up to snuff. So 12 blocked here, takes 6, loses the Daisho, and then...
Yeah, Icaria doesn't do much that we know is the... There is a Rune Hammer in him, but I don't think Rune Hammer is going to be doing anything here.
Yeah, it all looks pretty bad for Masterplan. He could maybe draw a Vanquish and stabilize a little bit, but from here it basically looks like Icaria as a chump blocker or a Rune Hammer is not even playable. So he's just in a lot of trouble now. Playing it through like a champ definitely still has maybe one potential out here, but with that Protect, he actually doesn't.
Yeah, the Protect and the second Sandstorm Titan sitting back in hand. So just making that Harsh Rule just never gonna actually do anything.
Yeah, if Masterplan had a Vanquish, then he would have played it. So even a Harsh Rule doesn't save him here because it just protects the 14/14. But killing the Sandstorm Titan does help, and helps pretty well.
And that was the last known card. Okay. Yeah.
Yep. So Komodo goes up 1-0, and we'll be looking into the sideboards for the next game.
Yeah. I'm really liking the Reality Wardens coming out of Komodo's sideboard.
Yeah, Komodo's got a very good sideboard against Armor. Awakens pressure, but the main stars here are Reality Warden and Stand Together, both of which are just extremely good cards against the general setup that your opponent's running. Vodafone Temple Speaker also tends to end up being a 7/7 for some amount, which it turns out is a pretty good stat line against Armory. So if he can get the big units down, if he can Stand Together, then that's really going to help him out a lot. An Awakened Student could present him with some early pressure to sort of prevent exactly what was happening in the early part of the game, where it kind of looked like Master Plan almost had a chance. So if he wants to sort of push that a little bit forward, he could maybe cut in the Awakened students over maybe even Seraphs. But it really depends on how much pressure he wants to be running. And I think as long as he's running in those Reality Wardens stand together, he might be favored in this matchup.
And now I'm looking at Master Plan's sideboard. I'm looking at the Vanquishes, the Slay, and maybe the Statutory, or the jeez, slipping up multiple the Statuary Maidens.
It definitely, there is some help here, certainly, with Statuary Maiden and Slay, with Copperhull Bailiffs. Like, there's not really anything that does an amazing amount of work against Cambrai. Slay is the main one that he really needs to put in. Annihilates are pretty good, and of course, if he has Protect against his opponents, like Harsh Rules, and his opponents' sort of removal spells, that can be kind of beneficial as well. I don't know if anything's like super amazing, but he can make some mild tweaks here to make his deck a little bit more aggressive or a little bit more capable of dealing with the big threats. I think that one extra Slay definitely needs to come in, since that's just such a good card against Ascendant.
If you're Komodo, though, are you leaving in the Harsh Rules?
That's a really good question. Like, it's possible that Komodo just tries to pressure out. The only problem is that he doesn't really have a sideboard to do that. He doesn't push any extra value with anything other than Statuary Maiden and Copperhull Bailiff.
Yeah,
so
I guess, like, what is Harsh Rule actually hitting in this deck, other than Statuary Maiden?
Yeah, like, I think you're trying to clear out those Mystic Ascendants, trying to clear out those Sandstorm Titans. You're trying to basically just set up a board in which you can get the extra bit of damage.
I'm talking about Komodo.
Oh, Komodo's Harsh Rules. Yeah, Komodo probably doesn't need to run his Harsh Rules. They're pretty unnecessary, but it's quite likely that, like, if Komodo doesn't run those Harsh Rules and Master Plan runs his Protects, he still comes out pretty okay there because he doesn't get silenced as much. You do want to have some way to kill Ikaria, and like, if Ikaria is not getting silenced, then Ikaria just clears the board and wins the game quite a few times in a row. So I think that, like, if Komodo cuts the Harsh Rules, it's totally fine. But it's possible that he might want to keep them.
Yeah, so it looks like players are resolving mulligans here. And now we're off to the races. All right, Master Plan on the play here is firing off a Seek Power. Komodo, I'm liking Komodo's hand, especially with that power draw.
Yeah, it looks pretty solid. He's got 4 in a row, gets straight up to Sandstorm Titan. He doesn't have any early defense. That Cambrai healer really saved him in the first round. Very true. If Master Plan has a similar sort of setup early on, then Komodo might be forced to throw out some cards like Valkyrie Enforcer a bit earlier than planned. And that would be kind of a big deal. We do have the Artisan right out, which again can really help Master Plan out. Last time it didn't hit his Daisho, so that really kind of made a difference over the course of the game, since he played Daisho multiple times with Throne Warden. But like, this time, if it hits something good, that could really help him.
And speak of the devil, there's that Cambrai healer.
Yep, we see a 2/5 on curve, followed by a 4-cost on curve. That's kind of favoring Komodo at this point. Master Plan doesn't have anything on 4, so from here, it's looking very similar to the last game, except that Komodo has like 3 big threats to play very, very early. So if Master Plan doesn't have a good reaction, this could be game sealed up very quickly.
Yeah, and the lack of attack from the Artisan also gave away a good bit. It also means that there's no Torch in Master Plan's hand. There's no Sword of Ikaria or Auric Runehammer.
Yeah, it's quite possible that he just doesn't have what he needs to get through this board. We do see another Sandstorm Titan coming down. At this point, Master Plan could throw Harsh Rules if he wants to, but there's still plenty of threats left in Komodo's deck.
For sure. And another, like, and pretty much any draw for Komodo is perfectly fine. Another power just means that Mystic Ascendant's going to be drawing a card on 7. Another unit Protect seems fine, especially just in case that Harsh Rule coming down. Yeah,
Master Plan bluffing a little bit with that Artisan attack, and he's taking 5 damage as a result. But not looking good for him. He just hasn't found anything to play yet. With the Sandstorm Titan on the board, that just cold blocks Ikaria from coming in for the finish. So he really needs some sort of win here, and he needs to find it fast.
See, and if I'm Komodo, I'm 100% okay just taking that 2 points of damage. I'm still at 22 health. I'm not anywhere concerned about Master Plan being able to do that much damage to me that quickly. Just take it and then swing back.
Yeah, it can be certainly reasonable to do so. Like, I don't think that Komodo is particularly threatened by that artist. Although, certainly the more damage you take against Armory, there is a higher chance that you get just swung out of the game, since Cumbre does not have a lot of life gain. I think that at the moment, Komodo was fine to take it. So
Yeah. Oh, and there's Bay right there. Hey, Seraph, how you doing?
Yep.
That'd be good. I have to imagine this Protect's gonna get fired off on the Mystic Ascendant here.
yeah, that's a big deal. Mystic Ascendant staying alive is just a problem. And if Masterplan has a slave for it, then that's nice. But he's on 2 cards and 6 life. I think this is going to be a very, very short game.
Yeah, I think you run out the Sandstorm Titan just in case a Throne Warden or something were to come down, just to ensure that they at least have to either chump or make sure they die.
Yeah. There's no good options here. Like, basically, if a Throne Warden did come down, he could live for another turn, but
yeah,
Star Steel Dice just not going to do it. And I think that
going out on their own accord. Yep. Oh, the Daisho dies on the first attack. Never mind.
Yep, right. Can't quite kill himself. So we have They tried. Yeah, very quick matchup there. Unfortunately, the Cumbre deck pretty well favored in that match. So we're going to be looking for a backup match for you folks, but at the moment it looks like that one was pretty sound beaten. So yeah, Komodo's big Cumbre deck definitely doing everything it's supposed to be doing against the Armory style. Certainly it is a tough matchup to beat, but yeah, a bit rough, especially in the sideboards. There was not enough stuff in the sideboard for Masterplan to effectively prepare.
Yeah, not at all. Yeah, just those big butts from Cumbre. Not what Armory wants to see, unfortunately. Not a Sir Mix-a-Lot fan, I'm guessing.
They're very good at killing everything that doesn't cost 4 or more, that doesn't have 4 or more health, which turns out is just a little bit tricky. So yeah, looks like we do not have a backup for you this time around. So that'll be it for us for the moment, but we will be back with the next round in just a little bit, folks.
Yeah, we'll see you guys then.